so let's have a lesson. Today's lesson is going to be about painting the Caitlin version of Happy Little Trees. We're going to do it with watercolor, and we're going to make a silhouette of them, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Trust me. So this is what I have to say about trees. I have found through many years of painting that doing trees silhouetted from a distance in watercolor is fantastic and easy, and it's wonderful to wonderfully simple to make look good. Great. Doing trees really close up and focusing on the leaves, great in watercolor. And I'll give that another lesson for that. What's tricky with trees is the middle ground where you're trying to do a whole tree just in one image. So we're going to skip over that aspect of a tree. Today we're focusing on the silhouette. I've already done my background. I actually did it in a different tutorial. We have a good wash of navy going down to pink. It kind of looks like a twilight sky. I let that dry completely, and then we're going to overlay our trees on top of that. The first thing we're going to do is take a big swatch of color and pull it across the bottom. So to do that, I'm going to mix a nice, deep, rich, black-looking color. It doesn't necessarily have to be green. We basically want it to look black, like black. I'm going to take indigo. That's one of my favorite dark, dark, dark colors. I'm going to pull in a little bit of green and then a lot of it of sepia. As little bit of water as you can possibly get, because you want that deep, rich color. And if you have too much water, it's just going to lighten up into light gray. The first thing we do is take a big swatch of that dark color across the bottom. I'm just going to take it and spread it across the bottom of the page. Let it be nice and rich. And I can even tell that's going to lighten up a little, so we're going to add a little bit more color on my brush, sepia, indigo, and pull it across. I'm going to add a drop of water in there too, because that's how we get a little bit of watercolor effects. Even though it's dark, we can still have gradations going on in there, so a little bit of water is just going to help it look more interesting as it dries. So I have that nice swatch of color. Then I want to switch brushes. I had my medium shape brush. Now we're going to get into my skinny mini brush right here. The most important thing with this brush is that it comes to a tippy, tippy, tippy point. This little point right here. Some brushes may look small, but they're actually don't come to that little tippy point, and that's really important. And we're only going to be using that tippy, tippy, tippy point. That is absolutely essential. If you're not comfortable that you're going to make a really skinny line, give a few practice strokes on a separate piece of paper, because that's key to this. If you have too thick of a line, it's going to look like a kindergartner did it. No offense to kindergartners, but your trees aren't as precise as they probably should be. So you take a brush. You don't need to put any color on it. You just need it to be a little bit wet. I always, without even thinking, I get it wet, dab any excess off of my paper towel, and I am going to just pull up. Pull that color up. We don't need any extra at this point. It's really important to get variation in here. Whenever you're drawing nature, you want some variation. Variation is key for trees. Nature doesn't have nicely stacked trees, all the same size, all equidistant from each other. No, no, no. We want different sizes, and we want them to be kind of sporadic. So some are just going to be a little stroke upward. Some are going to be a lot bigger, because trees are different sizes. Okay. So I pulled up in a couple of areas, quick little strokes like that. Then I'm going to put a little more color on my tree. Not on my tree, on my brush. And then across those little lines, you're just going to go, I say, squiggle, squiggle, squiggle. We're just going to do a little squiggle, squiggle, squiggle in that darkest dark color. Remember, indigo, sepia, and a little bit of green. I like to mix my colors on the fly. So squiggle, 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 right on top of those upward strokes. Beautiful. And keep variation in mind, because you'll start realizing you're making the same motion over and over again. Make your squiggles different from each other. It's a forest, they should be different. Variation, variation, variation. There, I'm liking that a lot. A little bit more variation over here. And that will give you your lovely tree line. We like some variation even on that bottom swatch. This swatch was looking a little bit too even, so I'm just adding a couple slopes and whatnot, and maybe a nice big tree over here, just to stand out. Straight line, squiggle, 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 squiggle. Straight line, squiggle, squiggle. There we go. And there we have some happy little trees. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. We'll add a little bit of water to it too, and it'll dry with great variation, and it will be just lovely. All right, and that is about it. I'm gonna add a couple blobs of color, of water, just to get some, some of that variation, some of those watercolor effects, but I have made my silhouettes, and I'm very happy with it. Thanks for joining in today's lessons of the Caitlin version of Happy Little Trees. If you liked it, then go ahead and click like. If you want to see more, go ahead and subscribe, and always feel free to comment with other tutorials or lessons that you want to see. I like hearing what you have to say. Thanks, and ta-ta for now.